Makea Takau Ariki was a sovereign of the Cook Islands. She was the Ariki of the dynasty Makea Nui, one of the three chiefdoms of the tribe Te Au O Tonga on the island of Rarotonga. She succeeded her uncle Makea Abera Ariki in 1871. Her reign lasted 40 years, during a crucial time in the history of Rarotonga and the Cook Islands. It was under her reign that the Cook Islands became a British protectorate in 1888 before being annexed to New Zealand in 1900. Family. Makea Takau was adopted by her uncle, Makea Davida. Her birth mother was his sister, Makea Abera Ariki, who was the eldest daughter of Makea Abera Ariki. Succession. Makea Davida was Ariki of Te Au O Tonga from 1839 until 1849 and succeeded by his sister, Te Verua, until her death in 1857. She was succeeded by her younger brother Makea Daniela until his death in 1866. He was succeeded by another brother, Makea Abera, who was in office until his death in 1871. Marriage. In the 1860s she married Rarotonga.She Ariki, one of the three high chiefs of Attu and of the adjoining islands of Makea and Aotearoa. The prince consort, Nauru, was known to be more warlike than she. It was his way to threaten people who offended him, by making the cannibal sign at them, rapidly drawing his clenched fist across his teeth, the significance being, "I will tear you with my teeth." Prince Rarotonga.She died in 1903, according to Beatrice Grimshaw, a journalist from Ireland who visited in 1907, shortly after the death of Prince Nauru. It seems that it was a happy marriage. The married life was a happy one, in spite of the prince's violent character, and when he died, the widowed queen took all her splendid robes of velvet, silk, and satin gorgeously trimmed with gold, tore them in fragments, and cast them into his grave, so that he might lie soft, as befitted the prince who had been loved so well by such a queen. Reign. France's armed takeover of Tahiti and the Society Islands in 1843 caused considerable apprehension among the Cook Islands Ariki and led to requests for them to the British for protection in the event of French attack. This nervousness continued for many years, and the call for protection was repeated in 1865 in a petition to Governor Grey of New Zealand. During the 1870s the Cook Islands enjoyed prosperity and peace under the authority of Queen Makea. Makea Takau.She was known a wily negotiator. She secured good prices for exports and cut the debts which had piled up before she became Ariki. By 1882 4 of the 5 Ariki of Rarotonga were women. Since the sovereign of the British Empire was Queen Victoria, Makea probably found it easier to achieve a paramount status. In 1888 she formally petitioned the British to set up a protectorate to head off what she believed to be imminent invasion by the French. The British were reluctant administrators, and continued pressure was applied to them from New Zealand and from European residents of the islands to pass the Cook Islands over to New Zealand. The first British resident was Frederick Moss, a New Zealand politician who tried to help the local chiefs form a central government. In 1898 another New Zealander, Major W. E. Gudgeon, a veteran of the New Zealand Wars, was made British resident with the aim of paving the way for New Zealand to take over from Britain as part of the expansionist ambitions of New Zealand's Prime Minister, Richard Seddon. This was not favoured by Makea Takau, who preferred the idea of being annexed to Britain. One of the results of the British annexation was freedom of religion and a new influx of missionaries from different denominations. The first Roman Catholic church was dedicated in 1896. After much manoeuvring and politicking, the Cook Islands was formally annexed by New Zealand on October 7, 1900, when a deed deed of cession was signed by 5 Ariki and 7 lesser chiefs without any debate or examination of its ramifications or implications. Titles and styles. 1871 to 1911 Makea Takau Ariki, 27th Makea Nui Ariki of the Te Au O Tonga tribe. 1874 to 1911 Queen, Supreme High Chiefess of the Cook Islands. 1888 to 1900 Leader of the Council of Chiefs. 1891 to 1901 President of the Executive Council. Rarotonga Palace, in a shady park-like setting in Avarua, are the Rarotonga Palace and its surrounding area, the Tapu Taputia Marau. Named after a marau in the Society Islands, Tapu Taputia was once the largest, most scared marau in Rarotonga. The palace is where Makea Takau signed the treaty accepting the Cook Islands' status as a British protectorate on the 26th of October 1888. Beatrice Grimshaw gives a brief description of the palace during her visit to Rarotonga in 1907. We walked through the blazing hot sun of the tropic afternoon, down the palm-shaded main street of Avarua town, to the great grassy enclosure that surrounds the Palace of the Queen. One enters through a neat white gate. Inside 1 or 2 small houses, a number of palms and flowering bushes, and at the far end, a stately 2-storied building constructed of whitewashed concrete, with big railed-in verandas, and handsome arched windows. This is Makea's palace, but her visitors do not go there to look for her. In true South Sea Islander fashion, she keeps a house for show and one for use. The palace was reputedly a lively place when Queen Makea was around in the 19th century. The building was a picturesque ruin for many years, and was closed to the public, although officially it remained one of the island's main seats of power. In 1990 a group of Auckland University students joined with local volunteers inspired to rebuild the important structure. Over a period of 3 years the building was restored and is now largely as it was in its heyday. After a prolonged illness, Queen Makea died at midnight on the 1st of May, 1911. During her illness she was looked after by Dr. Perceval, the chief medical officer in Rarotonga. The resident commissioner, Captain J. Eamon Smith, visited the palace daily for several weeks and was with her when she died. She was 72 years of age. Her body lay in state until Wednesday the 3rd of May, and viewed by numbers of the residents. She was buried in the family graveyard on the palace grounds. Succession. Queen Makea named Rangi Makea as her successor. On the 24th of October 1911 he was installed as Ariki. The late queen was head of government and her successor did not receive a similar appointment, but was of equal status to all the other Arikis. Bibliography. Rev. William Wyatt Gill, B.A.L.D. From Darkness to Light in Polynesia, The Genealogy of the Kings of Rarotonga and Mangaia. Beatrice Ethel Grimshaw, in the Strange South Seas, Air Publishing. Richard Philip Gilson, The Cook Islands, 1820 to 1950. Victoria University of Wellington, ISBN 0705507351.